Greetings. I am Dr. Parker and welcome to the Crash Course Academy online. Since we can't meet in the classroom these days, I thought I would put the PowerPoint together and send it to you guys via email so that you could sit down and walk through the PowerPoint much like we would in the classroom. And given everything going on in society these days with the concerns about the coronavirus, I thought tonight would be an excellent time to take a look at anxiety. So don't panic. We are going to talk about how to deal with this over the coming weeks in a way that is mature and healthy and strengthens you rather than wears you down. First, what I wanted to do was just kind of break down some definitions of anxiety so we can look at how these things tend to unfold. First, there's kind of a generalized anxiety, and with this, people tend to worry about everything. Coronavirus just being one part of it, but our worries begin to expand into other areas. And what if there's no food? What if I get sick? What if my friends get sick? What if I can't go to work? What if I can't pay the bills? And so even though the specific topic of concern is coronavirus, I generalize that anxiety to other things. Now, the specific fear of getting a virus or getting a bacteria of some kind is officially known as mysophobia or germophobia. And some people are just very much afraid of becoming infected. This also leads to social phobia because there's a lot of stuff in the news about don't get within 6 feet of other people, do your social isolating. If you don't have to leave the house, stay home. So we begin to worry about other people and we become nervous when we start getting around other people. And so this could lead to some social anxiety that is maybe happening for you now, but also can carry on after all of this passes. You may feel uncomfortable around other people later and not really kind of connect it to what's happening with society right now and all of our fears of getting infected. Panic attacks. Some people will actually have a full-blown panic attack, and panic attack is an anxiety that comes on quickly. Within 10 minutes, your heart's pounding, racing, you feel extremely uncomfortable, and this can lead to panic type behavior, such as we've seen in the grocery stores with people buying up all the toilet paper. So I don't really want to know why. Or all the potato chips, which I really don't understand why. I went into the grocery store the other day. There was a lot of fresh vegetables and eggs and milk, but the entire stock of potato chips and frozen pizza were gone. So people engage in panic buying. Agoraphobia. This is anxiety that we have in which uh, we suddenly realize that escape may be uncomfortable or difficult, if at all. And so we start to feel anxious being in the store. We have our cart filled with stuff, and now we can't leave because we can't leave our cart sitting there. That would be so rude, or everybody would know that I'm panicking and running out of here. So we start to feel uncomfortable going out into public because we may have a panic attack, we may have anxiety in these settings. And so agoraphobia begins to set in, and then we don't want to leave the house because that's our safe zone. And so again, this can be happening right now, or it's something that can extend into the future after all of these fears and worries about the coronavirus pass by. And then finally, there's post-traumatic stress. And post-traumatic stress, basically, the anxiety gets attached to something, like the coronavirus or the grocery store. And then later, when I'm reminded of it, such as if I turn on the news and I see a news article about the coronavirus or about panic buying, and I suddenly just have a kind of an automatic reaction, and begin to feel panicky and anxiety. So these are the types of anxieties that people can deal with, and it's good to be able to identify the types because that kind of helps us target how to treat these different types of anxiety that people may be struggling with. So what can you do at home to deal with the anxiety and the worry and the fear when it comes to our times and the worries about getting a virus? Well, first of all, you have control over your environment. And so it's always a good idea to create a nice, tranquil space, a safe haven where you can go into that room or go into that backyard or go into that corner of the living room. And when you sit down, the environment brings relaxation upon you. And I say create a tranquil place in time and space, um, because it's not just the physical location, but carving out some time in your schedule for downtime, for relaxation, for unwinding, to give yourself, give your mind some breathing space, when there's no pressure on you to do something else. And so create a tranquil space both in time and space. Some of the things you can do to relax and to manage your stress, start to get organized. Even if it's just taking a closet apart and cleaning everything and putting it back in, having that feeling of control over something helps us feel a lot more in control of ourselves. And so, during these times when we're social isolating and staying home to protect ourselves from the contagion, it's a good idea to go and use this time to clean the house, clean the kitchen, clean the drawers, and just to get some control over your own environment. Um, Clean your environment. You have a sense of effectiveness. If you go through the house and disinfect everything, disinfect the tables and the bathroom, you feel more comfortable. You feel like you have effective solutions for what's going on. For your body, making sure that you get some good aerobic exercise, whether it's getting on the treadmill, going for a walk in your neighborhood, going for a bicycle ride, or just turning on the radio and dancing like a fool for 30 minutes. This helps the body kind of ramp up and shed some of the toxins that are inside of it, and release the tension in our muscles, and just to help us feel physically more relaxed. This is also a time for healthy eating, because what we put into our body is the soup that we're creating for our brain. And since anxiety, is a product of how we think, and our brain is the thing that does the thinking, then it makes perfect sense to be giving it good fuel. So proper nutrition, staying away from the alcohol and the drugs and the caffeine and the sugar, and feeding yourself right so that you feel better and thus can deal better with everything. Schedule times to deal with stressors and try to limit the amount of time that you're spending on that stressor. And so make sure you have time for other activities and you're not ignoring other things. Spend a little bit of time on whatever you're worried about, make some headway there, and then set it aside and turn your attention to other things. Also, develop some enjoyable activities. During this time, every time you turn on the TV or the radio, that's all the news is about. So turn it off. And if you're going to get on the internet, watch cat videos or something. Go on YouTube and learn a new skill. Learn how to play the guitar. Learn how to remodel a room. But try to find some enjoyable activities that you can bring some positive energy into your life. Belly breathing. The one thing you have total control over in this world definitely is your body. And inside your body, the one thing you clearly have control over is how you breathe. And that makes such a world of difference. When we're breathing up in our chest and holding our breath, we get knots in our shoulders, we get headaches, we actually encourage ourselves to become anxious. And so when we breathe into our belly, we're consciously giving biofeedback a chance to bring our body's autonomic nervous system down, to bring our heart rate down. When we feel more relaxed, we can think more clearly, and we just simply feel better and sleep better. Meditate. Just again, that nice peaceful place you create in your room or in your house. Go there, sit down, do some silent meditation, and this is a perfect time to engage in prayer and to develop that relationship with God. Review your goals and plans and update as necessary. The federal government, the state government, the county government, your company, the school, they're setting all of these deadlines and time frames for when they're going to do things and allow things to be done. So instead of sitting around, kind of moaning about what they're saying you can and can't do, incorporate that into some sort of schedule so that you know target dates of when you can go back out of the house, or when you can get your kids back in school, or when you will be able to go out and have a nice dinner once again. So just set some schedules for yourself. Review those goals, update as necessary, chart your progress to keep yourself motivated, especially if you're taking this opportunity during this time to do something like perhaps learn how to bake really good chocolate chip cookies, because we can't have any right now. But if you're, doing that, you can make a batch, taste them, sample them, and then the next day adjust the recipe, bake, taste them, sample, and just kind of note how well you're getting at cooking. Um, this is a great time to start that Bible study stuff that you always talk about you want to do. And stay in touch with other people, even as hard as it is, because you can't physically get out of the house and go see somebody all the time. You can pick up the phone and call. You can send emails to other people. You can FaceTime. But make sure that you stay in touch with people who are supportive and are going to build you up as opposed to tear you down. So specifically, when it comes to dealing with anxiety, anxiety is essentially just, heightened levels of worry. We have worrisome anxiety, we have, specific anxieties, but ultimately the way to work through anything that generates anxiety, the way to get over anxiety is to learn to think differently. And so these next few steps are specific ways to begin to change how you think. And so when you're faced with a worry, when you're faced with a concern, step one, kind of step back and look at the situation and determine what you can control and what you can't control. So, the classic example, I can't control the weather, but I can control whether my car window is up or down. I can't control what my boss decides, but I can control how I perform on the job. I can't control the coronavirus, but I can control whether I wash my hands 14 times a day or not. I can control whether I am disinfecting periodically as the day goes along. I can control whether or not I have hand sanitizer on hand so that I can periodically do this. So I don't control the virus. I do control my reaction to the virus. I don't control my kids' attitudes, but I do control how I parent. I certainly have no ability to control society's overreaction to the coronavirus, but I can make rational plans for myself, my life, my family, focus on what is good, what is healthy, and I can turn the news off, and I can stop reading the internet news every 5 minutes. I can't worry, I can't control illness in and of itself, but I can control my healing and whether I follow the doctor's orders, whether I get to the doctor. Too many people just don't take good care of their health and get sick, or they don't take good care of their health after they've gotten sick. So step one, decide what you can and cannot control. Step two, write stuff down on paper or on the computer. It is so much more helpful to take the words that are running around in your brain and to put them down onto a sheet of paper or to put them onto a computer screen. And now they're not in here anymore, but they're over there. And over there makes it a little easier to deal with it. And so I write these situations down, I kind of step back, and I review what I've written and how I'm thinking about it. And am I making things worse by other thought processes that we've talked about? So am I operating under belief systems that things should be a certain way, or I should do this, or this should happen? Or am I creating more anxieties because I'm worrying about something that either may not be rational, or I'm worrying about something that I don't have any way of predicting whether it's going to happen or not? So writing this stuff down and setting it over there, rereading it after I've wrote it down, allows me to start to see some of this stuff going on inside my own brain. Now that I've kind of analyzed my writings, Let me rethink it and rewrite it. And this time I'm going to clear up that language. I'm going to focus on the facts at hand. I'm going to focus on my desires, what I want, how I want things to be. I'm going to change my perceptions. And I do that by cleaning up my language of how I speak. Now, I'm going to try to imagine positive futures, positive outcomes, positive goals, and I'm going to write those down. Because during this period where there's so much going on that I don't have control over, what I do have control over is my plans for where I am going to be a week from now, 2 weeks from now, whether that's be somewhere physically, whether that's be somewhere mentally, whether that's learn new skills, make some progress on the remodeling I'm doing in my house. I have control over that. So make plans. There are worst case scenarios out there. You may get sick, your spouse may get sick, someone you love may get sick. Make plans for each of these worst case scenarios. What would you do if a friend of yours got sick? What would you do if your mother got sick? How would you handle it? Come up with plans for that. So if on the off chance it does occur, you're equipped and ready to go and do something with that anxiety energy that we have. Also, make plans for how to manage a situation as it unfolds, because a lot of times our worst case scenarios don't just happen overnight and then suddenly we have to deal with them. A lot of times they're slowly unfolding. And that's kind of what's been happening with this coronavirus scare, is that each day there's a new kind of overstated, overblown, overly dramatized media story, and there's a new, regulation from the government. There's a new recommendation from the governor, and things are just like slowly unfolding. Well, how are we going to manage ourselves during this situation as it unfolds? And so make more than just one plan in case your plan A doesn't pan out for some reason. That way you can automatically shift to plan B and not miss a beat. Now, you've made these plans for worst case scenarios. Now make a plan to create the best possible outcomes. You've written down on that sheet of paper your ideals, your dreams, your goals, how you would like things to be. Now spend your energy there. Given the situation, how would you like things to work out? How would you like things to go? Take your desires, your plans, your preferences, your wants, and take those to God in prayer. That is what he is asking us to do. Whatever you want, ask for in my name, it shall be yours. Do not be anxious, but instead bring me your requests. So think about how you want things to be, how you would like them to work out, and then that is what you pray about. So you can write that down and you can have that as your prayer list. These are the things I would like to see happen. These are the things I would like to come true. And then that becomes what you focus on and what you pray about. Turning to the word for support, and here's a bunch of different scriptures that can help you as you're dealing with the anxiety of the times, as you're dealing with the worries of the times. And whatever your specific worry is, I guarantee you there is a scripture in the Bible that addresses the specific circumstances you're struggling with. Use your time and energy to find that scripture so that you can have it, memorize it, write it down, put it in your pocket, carry it with you wherever you go, so that when the anxiety starts to rise up, you can pull it out, read that scripture, and feel reassured that God's got this. So just a quick review of the fundamentals, because that's what we're all about. Fundamental number one, there are things in this world you don't control. You don't control the past or the future, what others think, do, or feel. You do control this moment in time, what you're thinking, and that's what this presentation has been about, is how to think about all of these things going on in life right now. What you do, and when you control what you think and what you do, you control what you feel. Fundamental number two, a very specific way that we think that creates tons of stress and pressure and frustration. Shoulds. If I am saying things should be a certain way, they're supposed to do this, they didn't need to do that, I am putting on a filter over my eyes, over my brain, that as the world comes to me through this filter, I can only have one out of two experiences: stress, frustration, anger, guilt, shame, or nothing. And in times like this, the more pressure we can take off ourselves, the more stress we can relieve of ourselves, the more capable we become to deal with everything that's going on around us. And so listening to your brain and reframing shoulds to wants. Is it a law? Follow the law. Keep it as a should. But if it's not a law, rephrase it as a preference, as a desire, and focus on what you want and take that in prayer. Fundamental number 3, worries, what if? That's what this presentation has been about. Make plans for possible negative outcomes so that you're equipped and ready to go if they occur, but then spend most of your time and energy on creating positive outcomes so that you have control over the direction your life is going, and you will create wonderful experiences even during this period of crisis. And then finally, fundamental number 4, negative thinking versus positive thinking. And essentially here, anytime you hear yourself saying the word not, you're probably thinking negative. I don't want this. I don't want that. They shouldn't be doing this. These are all negative thoughts. They're moving in a negative direction. Take the not out of that sentence and restrate it. This is what I would like to see. This is how I want things to be. Learn to think positively versus negatively. And that doesn't necessarily mean happy, happy, joy, joy, but look for solutions. Look for lights at the end of the tunnel. Look for hope. Look for the silver lining on every cloud. That is the instruction Paul gave us. He said, whatever is wonderful and lovely, excellent, think of these things. Do as I have instructed, and the peace of God will be with you. So, this is the PowerPoint slide that I use to put out on Facebook. If you go to Facebook and you want to send this link to your friends so that they know about this and so that you can then direct them or forward them the email, I'll be getting this PowerPoint with the video in it up on YouTube on the Crash Course website pretty soon. But I want to thank you guys for taking a few moments to tune into this today, and I will keep you posted as to when the Crash Course will start meeting again on Wednesday nights. And again, if you got any questions, you can always call my office, 316-250-8436. Leave me a voicemail, and I will return your call. And you can email me at parker.crashcourse@gmail.com. But those of y'all who know me know I don't check email very often. So if it's something important, an important question, please do not hesitate to call me at the 250-8436 number. Well, thank you guys for joining me here online for the Crash Course Academy. I've enjoyed doing this, and if you got any feedback about how this went, this is kind of my first time to do it. I would really appreciate the feedback. You guys have a blessed day.